A diamond ring sparks a fiery desert showdown, revealing a young woman's secret as the daughter of a sworn enemy, yet the savior of a lost mother. Like this video, subscribe and hit the bell to catch our latest thrilling stories. Victor Langston floored the gas pedal of his sleek black Bentley, the desert highway stretching endlessly before him, the midday sun blazing down with a vengeance, its heat warping the air above the asphalt, his knuckles white on the steering wheel, his mind a storm of rage after a brutal board meeting in Vegas where his own brother, Henry, had tried to undermine his leadership at Langston Enterprises. The speedometer climbing past 100, the engine roaring, when a deafening bang shattered the silence, the front tire exploding, the car lurching violently, Victor swearing, "Damn it." As he fought the wheel, the Bentley spinning out of control, tires screeching, dust flying, his heart slamming against his ribs, the car hurtling toward a beat-up pickup truck parked on the side of the road. A young black woman leaping out of the driver's seat just in time, her eyes wide with terror, the Bentley skidding, metal groaning, stopping inches from her truck, the front bumper so close it nearly kissed the pickup's tailgate. Victor slamming his hands on the wheel. What the hell, stepping out into the scorching heat, his tailored suit drenched in sweat. The woman, Aisha Monroe, charging toward him, her voice a furious growl. "You nearly killed me, you reckless bastard." "What's wrong with you?" Victor snapping back, his temper flaring. "My tire blew, I stopped." "Didn't I? You're fine, so stop yelling." Aisha kicking the dirt, her hands on her hips. "Fine, you call that fine? Your fancy car's a wreck, and you're stuck out here. Good luck with that." Victor glancing at the Bentley, smoke pouring from the hood, the front axle bent, his frustration boiling over. "Perfect, just what I needed in the middle of nowhere." Aisha scoffing, "Lucky for you. I'm not heartless, I can fix it. But stay out of my way." Grabbing a toolbox from her truck, kneeling beside the Bentley, her hands moving with expert precision, wrench clanking against metal, Victor pacing nearby, his impatience simmering, the desert wind howling, sand stinging his face. But as Aisha worked, a glint of light caught his eye, a diamond ring on her finger sparkling in the sunlight, its intricate design stopping him cold, his breath catching in his throat. The ring an exact match for the one his mother, Eleanor Langston, wore before she vanished 10 years ago in a family scandal that shattered their dynasty. A scandal tied to a bitter feud with a rival. Raymond Carter, Victor stepping closer, his voice low and dangerous. "Where did you get that ring?" Aisha freezing, her wrench slipping from her hand, clattering to the ground, her eyes darting up to meet his. "What are you talking about? It's just a ring." Victor's tone hardening, his eyes narrowing. "That belonged to my mother, Eleanor Langston. She's been missing for a decade, and I want answers. Now." Aisha standing abruptly, wiping her hands on her jeans, her expression a mix of fear and defiance. "I don't know any Eleanor. This ring was a gift, that's all you need to know." Victor advancing, his voice a growl, so, "A gift from who? You don't just end up with a Langston heirloom in the middle of the desert. Start talking, or I'll make you." Aisha stepping back, her hand reaching for the toolbox. "I fixed your car, you're welcome. Now back off." Victor grabbing her wrist as she turned to leave. "You're not going anywhere until I get the truth." Aisha yanking free with a fierce glare. "Touch me again, and I'll bury you in this sand." Bolting to her truck, Victor lunging after her. You can't run from this, but Aisha was already inside. The engine roaring to life, her truck peeling away, tires kicking up a massive cloud of dust. Victor coughing, shielding his eyes, shouting, "I'll find you." Her taillights vanishing into the shimmering heat. Victor slamming his fist against the Bentley's hood, the repaired engine humming but his mind in chaos. The ring a haunting clue to his mother's fate. The desert stretching endlessly around him. A vulture circling overhead, its shadow a dark omen. Victor climbing back into the Bentley, his hands trembling, his resolve hardening, knowing he had to track her down, the mystery of the ring burning in his chest, The near collision on the highway marking the start of a collision with a past he thought he'd buried. The truth waiting to be unearthed in the unforgiving sands. The chase only just beginning. Victor Langston slammed the door of his Bentley, the repaired engine humming to life as he floored the accelerator. The desert highway stretching endlessly before him, under a sky streaked with the fiery hues of a setting sun. The image of Aisha's diamond ring burned into his memory, a haunting echo of his mother Eleanor's cherished heirloom. The last piece of her he'd seen before she vanished 10 years ago in a scandal that fractured the Langston dynasty. The heat of the day giving way to a chilling evening breeze. Sand swirling across the road. Victor's jaw clenched tight, his tailored suit clinging to his sweat-soaked skin. His mind a storm of questions. Eleanor's disappearance tied to a bitter feud with Raymond Carter, a rival who'd nearly destroyed their empire with accusations of fraud. Victor always believed Raymond was behind his mother's fate, but Aisha's possession of the ring shattered that narrative. His hands gripping the wheel, the speedometer ticking past 80, his phone buzzing relentlessly, his assistant's voice cutting through. "Sir, where are you? The board meeting follow-up is in an hour. Your brother Henry is pushing for a vote on your position." Victor's voice sharp. "Cancel it. I'm chasing a lead on my mother, and I don't care what Henry does. I'll deal with him later." Hanging up, his eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of Aisha's blue pickup truck. The dust trail she'd left long gone. But Victor's memory was razor sharp. He'd noted her license plate in the chaos. Nevada 7KX 492, a detail he clung to like a lifeline. Dialing a private investigator he kept on retainer. A gruff man named Carl. "I need a location Nevada plate. 7KX 492, a beat-up blue pickup. Belongs to a woman named Aisha." "Find her now," Carl's voice steady. "Give me 20 minutes, I'll call you back." Victor driving on. The desert a desolate expanse of sand and shadow. His mind racing. The ring a clue he couldn't ignore. The last time he'd seen it was on Eleanor's finger at a family gala, her laughter echoing before she vanished days later. The scandal erupting when Raymond Carter accused the Langstons of embezzlement, a lie that led to a spiral of betrayal. Victor's father crumbling under the pressure. Eleanor leaving to confront Raymond, never to return. The investigator calling back. Got her, she's in Dusty Hollow, 30 miles east. Registered under Aisha Monroe. Works as a mechanic at Monroe's Auto Repair. Small garage on the main strip. Victor's grip tightening. Good, I'm on my way. The Bentley roaring through the fading light. Dusty Hollow coming into view. A forgotten town of cracked pavement and sun-bleached buildings. A neon sign flickering at the garage. Monroe's Auto Repair. Victor pulling into the empty lot. Aisha's truck parked near the entrance. His heart pounding as he stepped out. The air thick with the scent of oil and dust. The garage door half open. Aisha inside, bent over a motorcycle. Her hands smudged with grease. Her focus intense. Unaware of his presence. Victor calling out, his voice cutting through the hum of a nearby fan. "Aisha Monroe, we need to talk, now!" Aisha spinning around, a wrench in her hand, her eyes narrowing with a mix of surprise and defiance. "You again. I told you to leave me alone." What part of that didn't you get? Victor stepping closer, his shadow looming. "Not until you tell me where you got that ring, it belonging to my mother, Eleanor Langston. And I'm not leaving without answers." Aisha gripping the wrench tighter, her stance defensive. "I don't owe you anything. I fixed your car. That's more than you deserved. Now get out." Victor slamming his hand on a workbench, tools clattering to the floor, the sound echoing. "Stop playing games. My mother's been missing for 10 years, and that ring is the first real clue I've had. You're going to talk, whether you like it or not." Aisha stepping back, her voice sharp. "You don't scare me. I've dealt with worse than you. Rich boy." But her eyes betrayed a flicker of fear, her hand trembling slightly. Victor softening his tone, sensing her walls. "I just want the truth, please. If you know anything about Eleanor Langston, tell me. I need to know what happened to her." Aisha staring at him, the silence stretching, the weight of her secret pressing down, finally setting the wrench down, her voice low. I don't know how to trust you people like you bring trouble, and I've had enough of that in my life. Victor replying, I'm not leaving until I know your choice how this goes, but I'm not your enemy. Aisha crossing her arms, her gaze hard. Fine, but not here. Not now. Meet me at the diner across the street in an hour. Then you'll get your answers. But if you try anything, I'm gone. Victor nodding. 1 hour I'll be there. Don't make me come looking for you again. Stepping out, the desert night cooling, stars piercing the sky. Aisha watching him go, her hands shaking, knowing her past was catching up. The secret she'd buried in the sands about to resurface. Her father's name, Raymond Carter, a shadow she'd spent years running from. The diner's lights glowing in the distance, its red neon sign a beacon. The confrontation looming. Aisha grabbing her jacket, her mind racing. The truth a storm waiting to break. The weight of her father's legacy and Eleanor's ring a burden she could no longer carry alone. The hour ahead a ticking clock. The desert holding its breath. The diner in Dusty Hollow glowed under its flickering red neon sign. The air inside thick with the scent of fried food and stale coffee. The low hum of late-night conversations filling the space as Victor Langston sat in a worn leather booth, his tailored suit out of place among the denim-clad locals, his fingers drumming impatiently on the scratched tabletop. His eyes locked on the door, the clock above the counter ticking past the hour mark, each second fueling his frustration. The waitress, a middle-aged woman with a tired smile, refilling his coffee for the third time. You sure she's coming? Han Victor's voice curt. She'll be here. His gaze never wavering. The image of Aisha's diamond ring, a relic of his mother Eleanor, burning in his mind. The last piece of her he'd seen before she vanished 10 years ago in a scandal that tore the Langston family apart. The door finally swinging open with a creak. Aisha Monroe stepping inside, her jacket pulled tight against the desert chill. Her face a mask of determination tinged with fear. Her eyes scanning the room, landing on Victor, hesitating for a moment before striding over, sliding into the booth across from him, her voice low and guarded. I'm here, let's get this over with. But I'm warning you, I don't owe you anything. Victor leaning forward, his voice a low growl. Start talking, where did you get my mother's ring? And don't lie to me! Aisha's eyes darting to the side, her fingers fidgeting with the edge of her jacket. I told you, it was a gift. That's all you need to know. Victor slamming his hand on the table, the coffee cup rattling, the diner falling silent as heads turned. Don't play games with me. That ring belonged to Eleanor Langston. She's been missing for 10 years. And I need the truth. Now. Aisha flinching but holding his gaze. Her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. Fine, you want the truth. That met Eleanor 10 years ago. Right here in the desert, she was in a car wreck. Her vehicle flipped on the side of the road. She was bleeding out. I found her. Tried to save her. Victor's breath catching, his voice barely a whisper. You're saying you were with her when she died. Aisha nodding, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. I did everything I could. I was just 16. I didn't have a phone. No one was around for miles. I held her hand, tried to stop the bleeding, but she was too far gone. She gave me the ring as a thank you, said it was all she had left to give, told me to keep it safe. Then she was gone. I buried her body in the sand. I didn't know what else to do. Victor's hands trembling, his voice breaking. Why didn't you tell anyone? Why keep it a secret for 10 years? Aisha's voice cracking. Because of who I am. I'm Aisha Carter, daughter of Raymond Carter. The man your family blames for everything. The man you think drove her to her death. Victor's face darkening, his chair scraping as he stood. Raymond Carter, the man who destroyed us, who framed my father, who tore my family apart. You're his daughter Aisha standing too. Her voice rising. I knew you'd react like this. I'm not my father. I had nothing to do with your family's feud. I was just a kid when it happened. I didn't even know who Eleanor was until years later. Victor stepping closer, his voice a growl. You expect me to believe that your father ruined us, and now you're wearing my mother's ring. How do I know you're not lying? That you didn't have a hand in what happened to her? Aisha's eyes flashing with anger. I don't care what you believe, I told you the truth. I tried to save her. And I've lived with that memory every day since. Now leave me alone. Turning to leave. Victor grabbing her arm. We're not done. I need to know everything. Every detail. Aisha yanking free, her voice a snarl. I've said enough. Stay away from me or you'll regret it. Storming out of the diner, the door slamming behind her. Victor chasing after her, the patron staring, the waitress muttering, troubles brewing, Victor shouting into the night. Aisha, wait, you can't run from this. But Aisha was already in her truck, the engine roaring to life, tires screeching as she peeled out of the parking lot, her taillights disappearing into the darkness. Victor standing under the neon glow, his chest heaving, the revelation of Aisha's identity a dagger in his heart. Raymond Carter's daughter, the enemy's blood, yet the only person who'd been with his mother in her final moments. His phone buzzing, his investigator, Carl, on the line. I dug into Aisha Carter. She's clean, no criminal record, lives a quiet life, but her father's a ghost, disappeared after the scandal. Some say he's still out there, hiding. Victor replying, his voice cold. Keep digging. I need to know if she's telling the truth and find out where Raymond Carter is. I want to face him myself. Hanging up. The desert night closing in. Aisha's words echoing. I did everything I could. Victor torn between gratitude for her attempt to save Eleanor and the deep-seated hatred for the Carter name. The diner's neon sign flickering behind him. The truth, a jagged puzzle. The pieces just starting to fall into place. The weight of the past heavier than ever. The path ahead fraught with danger and uncertainty. The desert holding its secrets close. Victor knowing this was only the beginning. Victor Langston stood in the empty parking lot of the Dusty Hollow diner, the red neon sign buzzing faintly overhead, casting an eerie glow on the cracked pavement, the desert night wrapping around him like a shroud, the cold air biting at his skin. Aisha's words echoing in his mind like a gunshot. I'm Aisha Carter, daughter of Raymond Carter. The revelation a jagged knife in his chest. His mother Eleanor's final moments now tied to the daughter of his family's sworn enemy. Victor's hands clenched into fists, his breath visible in the chilly air. Torn between gratitude for Aisha's attempt to save Eleanor and the burning hatred for the Carter name. A hatred that had fueled the Langston family for a decade. His phone buzzing, snapping him out of his daze. Carl's voice on the line. I've got a lead. Raymond Carter was last seen in a town called Red Sands, 50 miles north, might still be there, but it's dangerous territory. Victor replying, his voice hard. Keep looking, I'm going after Aisha. She knows more than she's saying, and I need answers. Hanging up, climbing into his Bentley, the engine roaring to life as he sped after her taillights. The desert road dark and treacherous. Aisha's pickup truck weaving through the night, her heart pounding, the weight of her father's legacy suffocating, knowing Victor wouldn't stop. Her mind flashing back to Eleanor's broken body in the sand, the ring on her finger a constant reminder of that night. She turned off the highway into a secluded canyon, hoping to lose him, her truck bouncing over the rocky terrain, but Victor's headlights appeared in her rear view. Relentless. Aisha slamming on the brakes, the truck skidding to a stop. Dust billowing, she jumped out, her voice a furious shout. Stop following me. I told you everything. Victor stepping out, his suit jacket flapping in the wind. Not everything I need to know what really happened to my mother. And you're coming with me to find out. Aisha shaking her head, her eyes wild. I'm not going anywhere with you. You'll get me killed. You don't know what you're walking into. Victor advancing, his voice steady. You're already a target. Someone doesn't want this truth to come out. We're in this together now, whether you like it or not. Aisha hesitating, her instincts screaming to run, but the sincerity in Victor's eyes stopping her, her shoulders slumping. Fine, but we do this my way. I know people who might have answers, and you better keep up. The unlikely alliance forming. A fragile pact born of necessity. They drove north toward Red Sands, the tension between them a living thing, the silence heavy with unspoken distrust. Aisha leading Victor to a rundown bar on the edge of town, its faded sign reading Cactus Jack's. A haunt for desert drifters and outlaws. My father had contacts here. They might know something, she said, pushing through the door, the air inside thick with cigarette smoke, the jukebox playing a mournful tune, rough-looking men eyeing them with suspicion. Aisha approaching a grizzled man named Jake at the bar, his face scarred, his eyes cold. I need information about Raymond Carter. 10 years ago. Jake sneering. Carter's a name that gets people killed. Why should I talk? Aisha replying, her voice firm. Because I'm his daughter, and this man's mother died because of it. Victor stepping forward, his presence commanding. Her name was Eleanor Langston. Tell us what you know, or I'll make you. Jake's eyes narrowing. Eleanor, I remember her. Carter didn't kill her, but he was involved. Some rich guy paid him to scare her. Said it was supposed to be a warning, but it went wrong. She crashed. Victor grabbing Jake's collar, his voice a growl. Who paid him? Give me a name. Jake shoving him back. I don't know. Carter never said, but his old crew might. They're holed up in an abandoned mine 20 miles west. That's all I've got. Before Victor could press further, the bar door burst open with a bang. 3 armed men storming in, their faces masked, one pointing at Aisha. That's her Carter's kid guns drawn. The bar erupting in chaos, patrons diving for cover, bottles shattering. Aisha tackling Victor to the ground as bullets flew. Jake pulling a shotgun from behind the counter, firing back. Get out now, his voice a roar. Aisha and Victor crawling to the back exit, the armed men closing in, one shouting, she knows too much and her. Victor kicking over a table for cover, grabbing a broken bottle, slashing at an attacker's arm, the man howling, blood dripping. Aisha sprinting to her truck, Victor following, the engine roaring as they sped away, bullets pinging off the tailgate, the attackers piling into a black SUV, giving chase, their headlights glaring in the rear view. Aisha driving hard, her knuckles white. They're after me because of what I know we need to get to that mine. It's our only shot at the truth. Victor nodding, his voice grim. Then let's find out who wanted my mother dead. And why. The desert night a blur. The chase relentless. The SUV gaining. One of the men leaning out. Firing. A bullet shattering the truck's side mirror. Aisha swerving. Hold on, taking a sharp turn onto a narrow trail. The SUV struggling to follow. Their fragile partnership tested. The truth closer, but more dangerous than ever. The mine ahead a looming shadow, the answers buried within. Aisha Monroe gripped the steering wheel of her battered pickup truck, her knuckles white, the desert trail barely illuminated by the faint moonlight, the black SUV of their attackers roaring closer, their headlights a menacing glare in the rearview mirror. Victor Langston clutching the door handle, his once pristine suit jacket now torn from the bar, fight at Cactus Jack's, his voice sharp with urgency. They're gaining, we need to lose them before we get to the mine. Or we're dead. Aisha swerving sharply, the truck bouncing violently over jagged rocks, sand kicking up in clouds. I'm trying, they're not giving up, the SUV firing another round. A bullet slamming into the truck's fender, the screech of metal echoing through the night, Aisha cursing under her breath. Hold on tight. Taking a hard turn into a narrow ravine, the canyon walls closing in, the SUV struggling to follow, its sides scraping against the rock with a grinding screech. Aisha pushing the truck to its breaking point, the engine groaning in protest, her heart pounding, the ravine finally widening, the SUV falling behind, temporarily out of sight, Aisha slowing down, her breath ragged, sweat dripping down her brow. We've got a few minutes. Let's get to that mine before they catch up. Victor nodding, his mind a storm of rage and betrayal. Jake's words from the bar still searing. Someone paid Raymond Carter to scare his mother Eleanor, but it went wrong, leading to her death. And now someone wanted Aisha silenced, the mine coming into view, a dark, gaping maw in the desert landscape, rusted equipment scattered around like the bones of a forgotten era. Aisha parking behind a massive boulder. We go on foot from here, stay quiet. We don't know who's waiting. They crept toward the entrance. The air thick with the scent of dust and decay, the faint sound of voices echoing from within. Victor whispering, "Sounds like they're still here. Let's find out what they know." But before they could move closer, a blinding spotlight blazed to life, pinning them in its harsh glare. A rough voice shouting, "Don't move, or I'll blow your heads off." 5 armed men emerging from the shadows, their rifles trained on them. Aisha raising her hands slowly, her voice steady. "We're not here to fight, we just want answers about Raymond Carter." My father, the leader, a hulking man with a scar across his face named Travis, stepping forward, his sneer menacing. "Carter's kid. Huh. You've got a death wish coming here. Your old man left a lot of enemies behind." Victor intervening, his voice hard. "We know Carter was hired to scare Eleanor Langston, my mother who paid him. Tell us or we'll make this messy." Travis laughing, a cold, hollow sound. "You think we'll just tell you you're both dead, you walked into the wrong place." But one of the men, a nervous-looking guy named Eddie, hesitated, his voice shaky. "Travis, maybe they've got nothing to do with Carter's mess. Let's just talk." Travis backhanding him hard. "Shut up, Eddie. We don't talk to outsiders." Turning to Aisha, "Your father was a fool, he took the job. But it wasn't supposed to end in a crash. The guy who hired him wanted her alive, scared, not dead. That's on Carter." Victor stepping closer, his fists clenched. "Who hired him? Give me a name." Now Travis raising his rifle. "You don't get to make demands. Pretty boy." But before he could pull the trigger, the roar of engines filled the air. The black SUV from earlier bursting onto the scene, its occupants leaping out, opening fire without warning. Travis and his men returning fire, the mine erupting into a full-blown war zone. Bullets ricocheting off the rusted equipment, sparks flying. Aisha grabbing Victor, run diving behind a rusted mining cart. The ground shaking as a grenade exploded nearby. Travis shouting, "It's a setup, kill them all." Eddie breaking away from the chaos, running toward Aisha and Victor, his eyes wide with panic. "I'm done with this. Carter didn't kill her, but I know who paid him a bullet catching him in the shoulder." Eddie collapsing with a scream, blood soaking his shirt. Aisha dragging him to cover. "Talk fast, who was it?" Eddie gasping through the pain. "It was a Langston, your brother, Henry. He wanted Eleanor out of the way. Paid Carter to scare her. Said she was meddling in his plans. But it went wrong, she crashed." Victor's face contorting with rage, his voice a snarl. "Henry, my own brother did this." Eddie nodding, his breaths shallow. "Carter kept records hidden in the mine, in a locked box. Find them, they'll prove it." Travis and the SUV attackers closing in, their gunfire relentless. Aisha pulling Victor. "We need to get those records now, or we'll never get the truth." They sprinted into the mine, the darkness swallowing them, the sound of gunfire echoing behind, Victor's mind reeling, his brother's betrayal, a knife twisting in his heart. Aisha leading the way, her flashlight flickering, the beam bouncing off the damp stone walls. "We find those records. We end this," Henry's going down. The mine's tunnel's a labyrinth of shadows. The enemy closing in, their shouts growing louder. The truth within reach, but the danger suffocating. the weight of betrayal and vengeance driving them deeper into the darkness. Aisha Monroe led the way through the claustrophobic tunnels of the abandoned mine, her flashlight beam flickering erratically, casting eerie, jagged shadows on the damp stone walls, the air heavy with the scent of mold, rust, and decay. Victor Langston following close behind, his breath ragged, his heart pounding like a war drum, Eddie's dying words still burning in his mind. His brother Henry had paid Raymond Carter to scare their mother Eleanor, a plan that spiraled into her death. The betrayal a searing wound, the faint echoes of gunfire outside the mine fading, but the shouts of Travis and the SUV attackers growing louder, their voices bouncing off the walls. They went in, find them. Don't let them get out alive. Aisha whispering urgently, "We need to find that locked box Eddie mentioned. Keep moving. We don't have much time." The tunnels branching off in a dizzying maze of darkness. Victor replying, his voice a low growl, "Henry will pay for this. I'll make sure of it, even if it's the last thing I do." Aisha nodding, her eyes scanning the shadows. "First, we survive, then we make him pay." Their footsteps echoing, the beam of her flashlight catching a rusted sign bolted to the wall. "Storage 500 foot. Aisha pointing. "That way, let's hope the records are there. It's our only shot." They hurried deeper, the ceiling creaking ominously. Loose dirt and small rocks falling with every step. The mine unstable after decades of neglect. The air growing colder, their breaths visible in the dim light. Suddenly a shout erupted behind them. "I see their light there." Travis and two of his men charging down the tunnel, their rifles raised, their boots pounding the ground. Aisha shoving Victor into a narrow side passage. Get down, a hail of bullets ricocheting off the walls, sparks flying, the sound deafening in the confined space. Aisha pulling a pistol she'd grabbed from the bar, returning fire. One of Travis's men dropping with a scream, clutching his leg, blood pooling beneath him. Travis roaring, "You'll pay for that, Carter. You're dead." Victor scanning their surroundings, his eyes landing on a pile of old dynamite crates stacked against the wall. The wood splintered, but the sticks and ties still intact. Aisha cover me crawling toward them, his hands trembling as he pried one open. The dynamite brittle but still potent, the fuses faded but usable. Aisha firing again, her shots precise. "Hurry, they're closing in. I can't hold them much longer." Victor pulling a matchbook from his pocket, a keepsake from the diner, striking a match, the flame flickering in the damp air, lighting the fuse, the hiss of the spark racing. Get ready to run now, tossing the dynamite toward Travis. The explosion rocking the tunnel with a thunderous boom, a section of the ceiling collapsing in a cascade of rock and dust, the shockwave knocking them back. Travis's shouts cut off as the rubble buried him and his men, the tunnel filling with a choking cloud of debris. Aisha grabbing Victor's arm. "Move now, before the whole place comes down." They sprinted deeper, the mine shaking, more rocks falling, the ceiling groaning under the strain. The storage room finally in sight, a heavy metal door rusted shut, its hinges caked with grime. Victor slamming his shoulder against it. Once, twice, 3 times, the door giving way with a tortured groan, the hinges snapping. Inside, a small, damp room, shelves lined with decayed boxes, a locked metal box sitting on a shelf in the corner. Aisha working fast to pick the lock, her hands steady despite the chaos, her lock-picking tools a blur, the box clicking open after a tense moment, revealing a stack of yellowed papers. Victor rifling through them, his eyes widening. It's all here: payment records, Henry's signature, Carter's notes. He didn't want her dead. Henry pushed him to go too far, wanted her out of the way to take control of the company. Aisha nodding, her voice grim. "This proves it. Henry's finished. But we need to get out with these," stuffing the papers into her jacket, zipping it tight. But their victory was short-lived. The SUV attackers entering the mine, their voices echoing through the tunnels. They're in here, spread out. Check every passage, Aisha grabbing Victor. We need to get out. There's a back exit. I saw it on the map outside. Let's move. They ran, the attackers closing in, their flashlights slicing through the dark, their boots echoing. Victor spotting a narrow shaft leading upward, the rusted ladder barely holding. There go. Aisha climbing first, her movements quick, Victor following, the shaft tight, the walls scraping their skin, the metal rungs creaking under their weight, one of the attackers reaching the base, firing up, bullets ricocheting, the sound deafening, Aisha kicking down a loose rock, the man shouting as it struck Mo's arm, dropping his gun. They emerged into the desert night, gasping for air, the mine's back entrance hidden among a cluster of boulders, the cool air a shock after the stifling tunnels. But the attackers were relentless, their shouts growing closer. Their outs circle around, Aisha and Victor sprinting toward her truck, the papers their only hope, the desert stretching endlessly around them. A vulture circling overhead, its shadow a dark omen, the truck in sight. But the attackers bursting out of the mine, their gunfire resuming, bullets kicking up sand. Aisha diving into the driver's seat, Victor piling in, the engine roaring to life, the truck peeling away as bullets pinged off the tailgate. The desert a battlefield, the truth in their hands, but the danger suffocating, the chase far from over. Aisha Monroe floored the gas pedal of her pickup truck, the desert night blurring past, the papers proving Henry Langston's guilt tucked securely inside her jacket, Victor Langston gripping the door handle, his face a mask of fury and determination, the black SUV of their attackers still in pursuit, their headlights glaring, Aisha shouting, "We need to get to a safe place to expose Henry somewhere public." Victor nodding, "There's an old factory 10 miles south. Near the highway it's abandoned, but I can get a signal there to call for help." Aisha swerving to avoid a bullet that shattered the rear windshield, glass shards flying. "Then hold on, we're not out of this yet," the truck bouncing over the uneven terrain, the SUV gaining, one of the attackers leaning out with a rifle, firing. Aisha ducking, the bullet grazing her arm, blood trickling down. Victor shouting, "You're hit," Aisha gritting her teeth. "I'm fine, just keep your head down," the factory coming into view. A sprawling, rusted structure silhouetted against the moon. Aisha slamming on the brakes, the truck skidding to a stop behind a crumbling wall. "We make our stand here, get those papers ready." Victor pulling out his phone, his hand shaking, dialing Carl. "I've got proof Henry killed my mother. Meet me at the old factory off Route 9, bring the authorities." Now Carl replying, "I'm 20 minutes out, hold on." The SUV screeching to a halt. 4 armed men piling out, spreading out to surround the factory. Victor and Aisha taking cover behind a stack of crates. The attackers shouting, "Come out. Langston, we know you're in there." Victor whispering, "We need to buy time. Can you get to the control room? There's an old alarm system. Might still work." Aisha nodding. "Cover me." Sprinting through the shadows. Bullets whizzing past. Victor returning fire with Aisha's pistol. One attacker dropping with a scream. Aisha reaching the control room. The panel covered in dust. Flipping switches. A deafening siren blaring to life. The sound echoing across the desert. The attackers momentarily disoriented. Victor shouting. Good keep them distracted, but the leader of the attackers, a man named Marco, rallied his men. "Find them, Henry's paying us to finish this." Charging toward the control room, Aisha barricading the door with a metal shelf, her arm throbbing, the blood soaking her sleeve. Marco slamming against the door. "You can't hide." Carter the wood splintering. Aisha grabbing a wrench, ready to fight, but Victor burst in through a side entrance, tackling Marco. The 2 men grappling. Victor slamming Marco's head against the floor. "Who sent you?" Marco spitting blood. "Henry? He wanted you dead. Wanted the truth buried." Victor knocking him out with a final punch. The other attackers closing in. Sirens wailing in the distance. Carl arriving with a convoy of police cars. Officers swarming the factory. shouting, "Drop your weapons." The attackers surrendering, their hands raised. Victor and Aisha stepping out, Aisha clutching her arm, Victor handing the papers to Carl. "Henry Langston orchestrated my mother's death, get him." Carl nodding. "We've got enough here for an arrest, he won't get away." The news breaking the next morning. Langston Hare arrested for murder conspiracy. Henry's face plastered across every screen. The public in uproar. Victor and Aisha watching from a safe house. Aisha's arm bandaged. Victor turning to her. "You saved my mother's legacy. I'll never forget that." Aisha replying, "We did this together now. Let's make sure it means something." The truth exposed. Justice served. Their bond forged in the crucible of the desert. Victor Langston stood on a sunlit platform in the heart of a newly renovated community center in Red Sands. The desert town transformed into a symbol of renewal and hope. The late afternoon sun casting a warm golden glow over the crowd of hundreds gathered before him. Their faces a vibrant mix of locals, activists, and media, cameras flashing, reporters scribbling notes, the air buzzing with anticipation and a shared sense of purpose. Aisha Monroe stood beside him, her arm now healed from the gunshot wound. A simple but elegant dress replacing her usual rugged attire, her expression a powerful blend of strength and hope. The diamond ring on her finger glinting in the sunlight, a poignant reminder of Eleanor Langston's legacy, a legacy they were about to honor in a way that would echo across the desert and beyond. Victor adjusting the microphone, his tailored suit a stark contrast to the dusty roads he'd traveled to get here, his voice steady but thick with emotion. "Today, we stand here to honor my mother, Eleanor Langston, a woman who loved fiercely, who believed in justice, and who deserves so much better than the fate she met 10 years ago in this very desert." The crowd falling silent, hanging on his every word. Her death was a tragedy born of betrayal, but her legacy will live on through the Eleanor Foundation, a charity dedicated to supporting desert communities, providing aid to those in need, and ensuring that no one is ever left stranded and alone like she was. The audience erupting in applause, their cheers echoing through the open space, banners waving high. Justice for Eleanor and Langston legacy lives. The energy electric, Aisha stepping forward, her voice clear and resonant, carrying the weight of her own journey. "I kept Eleanor's ring as a promise to do good, a promise she entrusted to me in her final moments. I've carried that promise for a decade. And now, together with Victor, we're keeping it, not just for her, but for everyone who's ever felt lost, abandoned, or unseen." The crowd cheering louder, a group of children from a local school climbing onto the platform, their smiles bright, presenting a polished wooden plaque. Eleanor Foundation founded 2025, Victor kneeling to accept it, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Thank you, this means the world to me, to all of us." His voice breaking slightly, the children hugging him, the crowd clapping, the moment a celebration of healing and unity. The foundation already raising millions in donations. Its first project, a fleet of mobile aid units for desert travelers, equipped with medical supplies, water, and communication tools. Victor and Aisha working side by side in the weeks leading up to this day, their partnership a testament to the power of reconciliation, their shared trauma forging a bond neither had expected. The crowd parting as an unexpected figure stepped forward. Raymond Carter, Aisha's father, his face weathered by years of hiding, his eyes heavy with regret, the murmurs of the audience growing as he approached, his voice low but firm. "I never meant for Eleanor to die. I was a pawn in Henry's game, a weak man who made a terrible choice. I'm sorry. To Victor, to Aisha, to everyone I hurt." The crowd falling silent, the weight of his words hanging in the air. Victor stepping forward, his jaw tight, but his eyes softening. "I know the truth now. Henry used you, but that doesn't erase the pain. I forgive you. Raymond, let's build something better from this." Extending a hand, Raymond shaking it, his own eyes glistening. Aisha hugging her father, tears streaming down her face, whispering, "I missed you, Dad." The moment a bridge over a decade of pain, the crowd murmuring in approval, some clapping softly, others wiping tears. The event winding down with a ribbon-cutting ceremony for the Foundation's first aid unit. Victor and Aisha cutting the ribbon together, the crowd cheering, the sun dipping lower, casting a golden glow over the desert. The event, a beacon of hope. Victor and Aisha walking through the crowd, hands intertwined, their bond forged through the crucible of betrayal, loss, and survival. A reporter stopping them, microphone in hand. "What's next for you two? After all you've been through," Victor smiling. A rare, genuine smile. "We keep fighting for justice, for each other, for a world where no one's past defines their future." Aisha adding, her voice steady, "And for a future where no one's left behind in the desert, or anywhere else. We'll make sure of that." The reporter nodding. The crowd parting to let them pass. Children running up to thank them. Locals shaking their hands. The Foundation's banner fluttering in the gentle breeze. Eleanor Foundation. Hope in the desert. The words of promise etched in the fading light. Victor and Aisha stepping off the platform, finding a quiet spot near the edge of the gathering. The desert stretching endlessly before them. The horizon painted in hues of orange and pink. Victor turning to Aisha. "I never thought I'd find peace after losing my mother. But you gave me that and more." Aisha smiling, her hand squeezing his. "We gave each other that we turned pain into purpose. Together." The sun setting over the desert, its final rays casting a golden glow, their silhouettes a testament to their shared journey. The desert a witness to their redemption, their pasts reconciled, their future bright with possibility. The Eleanor Foundation, a legacy that would live on, a beacon of hope in the sands. A diamond ring in the desert unveiled a tale of betrayal, but Victor and Aisha turned it into a legacy of justice with the Eleanor Foundation. Thanks for listening. Like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell for our latest videos.